At first, I thought I was back on Earth, another battlefield evacuation, another military hospital with recycled air and flickering lights. But when I opened my eyes, the ceiling above me wasn't metal or concrete. It was translucent, glowing faintly blue, like ice lit from within. Strange symbols drifted across it, rearranging themselves in patterns I didn't recognize. That was when I knew I wasn't on Earth anymore. Pain surged through my body as memory returned in fragments. Our transport ambushed near the Helios Rift, alien ships dropping out of fold space, energy fire tearing through the hull. I remembered shouting orders, dragging wounded crew toward escape pods. I remembered heat, light, and then nothing. I tried to move. My arms felt heavy, unresponsive. A faint humming surrounded me, rhythmic and precise. Then someone leaned into my field of vision. She was alien. Her skin was smooth and blue, not bright but deep, like a calm ocean under starlight. Large dark eyes studied a floating data display beside my bed. She wore what looked like a medical uniform grown rather than stitched, flowing seamlessly over her slender frame. Thin bioluminescent lines pulsed faintly along her neck and temples. An alien nurse. She noticed my eyes open and froze for just a fraction of a second, long enough for me to catch something unexpected on her face. Concern. Easy, she said softly, her voice melodic but clear, translated by a device embedded near my ear. You suffered extensive trauma. Do not attempt to rise. Where am I? I croaked. You are aboard a Varelian medical carrier, she replied. You were recovered from a destroyed human vessel. So that was it. Captured. Humanity was at war with the Varelian Coalition, an advanced alliance of blue-skinned, silver-eyed species who considered themselves guardians of galactic order. To them, humans were volatile newcomers. Useful, maybe. Dangerous, definitely. I closed my eyes. Prisoner of war. Best case. She adjusted something near my chest, and warmth spread through my body, dulling the pain. Then she leaned closer, too close for a routine check. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Don't tell anyone, she said. I opened my eyes again, heart suddenly racing. Don't tell anyone what? Her gaze flicked toward the doorway, where two armored guards stood motionless. Then back to me. That you are awake, she whispered. And that I told you this. Told me what? I asked. She hesitated. Just a second. Then she said the words that changed everything. Humanity is the key, and they cannot be allowed to know that we know. Over the next few days, or cycles as the Varelians called them, I pretended to be weaker than I was. The nurse, whose name I later learned was Salith, continued caring for me. She never spoke of her warning again, but her actions spoke loudly enough. She delayed reports, adjusted my recovery metrics, ensured I was alone whenever possible. And slowly, carefully, she told me the truth. The Varelian Coalition had been studying humanity long before first contact. Humans were physically weaker than many species, technologically behind others, and politically fractured. On paper, we should have been insignificant, but we weren't. Your species is anomalous, Salith told me one cycle while recalibrating my neural stabilizers. You adapt faster than any known civilization. You form emotional bonds that override self-preservation. You fight not only to survive, but to protect ideas, freedom, family, identity. Yeah, I muttered. That's gotten us into trouble before. She tilted her head slightly, a Varelian gesture of contemplation. It has also allowed you to survive extinction-level events repeatedly. Your history is filled with disasters that should have ended you. She looked at me, eyes glowing faintly. You endure. What Salith revealed next chilled me more than any battlefield ever had. The coalition was losing a war, not against humanity, but against something else. An extragalactic force, known only as the Null, was advancing from beyond mapped space. Entire systems went dark when it arrived. Advanced species fell in days. The coalition's technology, shields, AI tacticians, predictive models, failed against the Null's adaptability. But humans? Humans were different. Coalition analysts had observed human units in limited engagements with Null fragments. Against all probability, human forces performed better. Not because of superior weapons, but because of unpredictability, creativity, and something the coalition couldn't quantify. Hope. Your species resists entropy, Salith said quietly. You refuse to accept inevitability. So, why are we at war with you? I asked. She looked away. Because if humanity learns the truth, they become uncontrollable. The middle of my captivity was filled with tests. Not overt interrogations, subtle simulations disguised as therapy. Combat scenarios. Moral dilemmas. Social experiments. I realized they weren't trying to break me. They were trying to understand me. And Salith was helping me cheat. She slipped me information, tiny details about coalition command structure, research facilities, and the true state of the war against the Null. She also told me something far more dangerous. There are those among us, she said one night, who believe humanity must be eliminated before the Null arrives in full force. My blood ran cold. Eliminated? Preemptively, she said. To prevent you from becoming a variable we cannot control. And you? I asked. She met my gaze. I believe you are the only variable that can save us. That was the moment I stopped thinking like a prisoner. I began thinking like a human. With Salith's help, I coordinated with other human captives, pilots, engineers, soldiers, using improvised signals and coded language hidden in medical routines. We didn't plan an escape. We planned a message. The turning point came during a coalition emergency summit. The Null had wiped out another core system. Panic rippled through the highest levels of command. Desperation replaced arrogance. That was when Salith made her choice. She smuggled me into the central medical nexus, a living data core connected to every major coalition network. As alarms began to rise, she looked at me, fear and resolve warring in her eyes. Once this begins, she said, there is no going back. I nodded. Story of my species. Using a hybrid of human hacking techniques and Varelian biointerfaces, we injected a data package across coalition space. It wasn't a weapon. It was history. Unfiltered footage of humanity at its worst and best. Wars, yes, but also rebuilding. Sacrifice. Rescue missions where soldiers died saving alien civilians. Last stands fought not for victory, but to buy time for others. We showed them who we really were. Then we added projections, coalition simulations recalculated with human unpredictability integrated. The results were undeniable. With humanity as an ally, the probability of defeating the Null increased exponentially. Without humanity, extinction was a near certainty. The broadcast ended with a simple message. You fear us because you cannot control us. We survive because we never try to control each other completely. Let us choose to fight together.